Wooks and Warlocks contains sex, drugs, and rock and roll. As such, should not be listened to by probably anybody. Content warnings can be found in the description. Jeez.
Phew! That Franklin was a freako. Here's hoping he never shows back up again. Now who is this Pinball Wizard? Looks like there's a new task for Trace Kinos to tackle in the arcades of Wooks and Warlocks.
Hello and welcome to Wooks and Warlocks, a role-playing tour through the summer of love. In this podcast, we'll be playing out a story of adventure and magic, using dice and skills to determine the outcomes of our actions. My name is Trey Miller, and I will play the role of Game Master for this journey. I am joined by three of the finest folks to roll the dice. Please introduce yourselves and your characters.
My name's Tony Roy. I'll be playing Xantor, the Bugfolk Ranger.
My name is Jessie Bennett. I will be playing Granny Glenda. She's a half-orc, half-foxfolk rogue.
My name is John Lombardi. I'll be playing Elijah Woodstone, the Elkfolk Farm Wizard.
On our last journey with the happy tricksters, the far-flung journeyers from the past, we saw them awakening after a long rest, returning triumphant from their battle with the Sons of Wrath, a corrupted local offshoot of the Heaven's Devils. Because their defeat of the Sons of Wrath posed a chance for advantage for the Powder Rangers, Gil, Sarah, Chad, and Tree, their current hosts, Gil saw fit to reward the crew with $500 each so that they could go out on the town, spending some money to upgrade their gear, get some new duds, the usual things folks do in Yamia. He had a small favor to ask, that the group meet with his companion and connection, Big Ben, at the arcade at 10 p.m. The group chose to travel into the city by way of public transit on the bus, where they met a homeless turtle person by the name of Franklin. This elderly turtle person took a liking to Granny Glenda and happened to also be on a journey to the Zoot Suit store that Xantor hoped to visit to get new duds for himself and possibly for other members of the crew. The group, caught in conversation with Franklin, missed their first stop and got off the bus a bit past their intended destination and made a pit stop into an oddities store run by an elderly Wookish woman. The group there purchased some essential oils before traveling further down the road. They returned to the bus stop using the directions provided and hopped a ride to their next location, eventually managing to arrive at the Zoot Suit store at about 8 p.m. The trio, accompanied by their new begrudging friend, Franklin, and that is to say the group was begrudgingly accompanying Franklin, entered into the store where Xantor found a Jarmez Jarsachi combo Zoot Suit that he purchased. In a fit of kindness, Elijah purchased an ill-fitting suit for Franklin, who exposed himself as a strange perverted clinger-oner. The group left him in the rain on the side of the road outside the Zoot Suit store. They arrived at the arcade at roughly 9 p.m. to find that a tournament was going on. An individual, blindfolded, with his ears covered and his mouth masked, was playing pinball with a large crowd of folks watching in the center of the arcade, cheering as he focused his attention exclusively on the game. This man, called the Pinball Wizard, had an open challenge. Challenge the Pinball Wizard for $1, win $1,000 if you beat his high score. We return to the crew in the hustle and bustle of the late-night arcade in 1969 Yamia during the Summer of Love.
Well, dearies, I think I would like to challenge that man.
Xantor, with your multiple limbs, you probably have a decent advantage at that clicking game. Granny, I imagine you can handle that with the quickness as well.
That's true, Xantor. Would you also like to give it a try?
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. It's just what, we just flick these things? Let me watch this fella here for a second.
Yeah, so you guys investigate. The room is filled with a plethora of these machines. They all seem similar in function. There's some other games on the edges of the room, but the real focus are these trigger button machines, these boxes with lights and balls moving around and bouncing. And you see, as you investigate close, go ahead and roll and investigate, Xantor.
I would like to smell for snacks.
Yeah, okay, so while Xantor's trying to learn how to play, Elijah is going to be taken by the smell of bar foods, fried sandwiches.
And I get advantage with my elk nose, right?
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
Got 17.
Ooh, that didn't really help. Go ahead.
All right, so as Xantor is watching, Elijah is sniffing around the room trying to find the source of this delicious food smell that's wafting about him. Xantor, with your 17, you're able to pick up quickly. Granny Glinda, are you watching this game as well, or are you...
Yeah, I'll be watching it too.
I'm just going to watch
roll
this
for investigate, Granny Glinda. What did you roll on your search for food?
Not enough to like really pinpoint for it to distract me from this game.
So you're overwhelmed and you smell all this food and you want it and you're salivating, but you just can't seem to see where it's coming from.
So I'll just pay attention to what they're doing.
Granny Glinda?
Yeah, that's gonna be a 2 minus 1, so 1.
All right, Granny Glinda, with your 1, we're gonna take this like this. Xantor, you're watching and you're picking it up. Your calculating mind is strategizing as you watch these players. You see that there are these paddles that hit a ball, and as the ball is hit, it rolls up an incline and bounces against springs, levers, dingers, zappers, traps. There are holes that catch the ball. There are holes that shoot the ball out. There are ramps and spinners and weavers that you can go through. And you're just analyzing this all in. It's like data is just pouring into you. And you're yes. And meanwhile, Granny Glinda is looking over your shoulder, trying to gather the same information. And it is exactly like watching a normal grandma try to play Grand Theft Auto. Like, you are just unable to figure out what is going on with this game. What is the purpose? What's happening? How is the ball moving? Why do the buttons get pressed? What's happening when the ball is pressed? And because of that, Xantor, when you go to approach playing pinball, you're going to have an advantage on your skill checks to try to hit the ball. Granny Glinda, you're going to have disadvantage.
Checks out.
So Xantor doesn't really care about any of these games. He thinks they're childish, and he's but he does fully understand it, and he relays that to the party. But at the same time, he's I don't know, guys. This is a bunch of kid games or something. It seems very simple, and he explains all the rules and how to do the flippers and everything. But he's just completely kind of disinterested. He wants to get in there, give this guy his bag, that we're meeting, and then get back out and get some guns and ammo.
Xantor, we have time, and think of it like this, man. And I know it's a game, but it's like a game of like testing your instincts and your survival instincts, and the odds are crazy, man. It's 1,000 to 1 for $1. We can get $1,000. Think of the money. Just in case you get lucky and win, that's $1,000, or you lose $1 and we'll kill a little bit of time. We got an hour to kill.
Who is this? This guy is like, this game is called Pinball, right? And this guy is the Pinball Wizard.
I guess he's just the best at it, and you're probably going to lose, but it's $1, and if you do manage to kill it, that's $1,000, man. We can get 2 more suits. You can get suits in 2 more colors.
Well, I kind of see how all these little doodads and knobs are working over here. If we were to play, I'm sure we'd have some kind of advantage or something. Because, check this out. And he starts explaining again to Granny and Elijah how everything works, and when to hit the knob at the right button to make the flipper flip, and he's like, look at this, see, this is these angles and these trajectories of how the balls come, and they come up this chute and then they come down, and they if you hit it right here, and he starts explaining the timing of
as
all
you
of it.
Explain it all, let's go ahead and roll for persuasion to see if you're explaining this in a way that's going to allow Granny Glenda to understand the game and maybe lose that disadvantage.
Would it help if she hopped up on the baby Bjorn and get a better view of the game happening?
I got a natural 1.
No, it would not. Nothing at all will help Granny Glenda figure this game out better. Unfortunately, she is going to be at a disadvantage when she attempts to play.
Dearie, there are too many words that you're saying for this old lady. I mean, it's just so many bright lights, and there's a lot happening over there. But I'm gonna try it anyway, I think.
Yeah. You got this, Granny. We got this. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, you go first, though.
So Xantor reluctantly steps up to the challenge of the Pinball Wizard and hands over $1, and he's like, give it a whirl.
Yeah, so you walk up, and there's a crowd of people. Sort of the room itself is not crowded. There's rows and rows of machines, and maybe 1 out of every 3 games is currently being played. But when you approach the pinball machine that's in the spotlight that the wizard is currently playing, it is hustling, bustling, it is loud, there is cheering and jeering, there's dozens and dozens of people attempting to watch this one machine being played by this blindfolded, ear-muffed, masked individual. It's a little tough to get up, and you do see that there's a circle around the player, and next to him is a little booklet, and on the booklet are the words "sign up sheet." So you walk up to the group, and you're trying to give somebody $1. Is that what's happening?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you walk up, and the one of the folks says, "Hey man, you trying to challenge the Pinball Wizard? He can't hear you or see you, so you gotta basically sign up right here." And he points to the list, and then he says, "They'll take your bet up at the counter."
Sure thing, bub. So Xantor goes to sign up and goes over to the counter.
Do you have money left, or did you get cleaned out?
I've got $7.
Oh man, 7 chances.
So you walk. What is it?
Granny Glenda's also gonna sign up as well.
All right, when you guys go to sign up, you notice that there's no one in front of you. It's the Pinball Wizard was like the sign up sheet was filled out, quite full, but it's just the Pinball Wizard over and over again. There's no telling who wrote it, but it's just written, and it's very neat handwriting. It's incredibly immaculate. So.
I'll sign up as well.
Elijah's gonna sign
it's
up
$1. I'm gonna give it a shot.
All right,
I just convinced him to do it. I'll do it.
So the group walks up to the counter, and behind the counter there is a teenage skunk woman who is wearing like a referee outfit, and she's gonna look up and be like, "Hey guys, I guess you're here to what, do you want to turn in some tickets or something? What's happening?" And you see behind her there's lots of prizes.
We're here to challenge the Pinball Wizard.
All of you?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
All right. Just one try each, or what?
Just one for myself.
One for me, too.
Aye.
All right, $3, and she just kind of puts her hand out, like, lackadaisically, and is looking away, disinterested. Blows a bubble.
Oh,
It pops.
yeah, I'll give
I
her.
hand over a book, yeah.
Me too.
Cool. All right. 1 second.
Hey, by the way, what's up with this guy? I noticed on the sign-up list there, it was just him over and over and over. Is this like a crazy person we're about to deal with, or what?
I mean, he really likes pinball. Like, he's the Pinball Wizard. I don't know. He just showed up here, like, a couple weeks ago. Was blind. He had all of his gear on like that, and he's just been playing nonstop. So we started this challenge. If you can beat him, then we'll pay you, because we think he'll leave. He won't leave. He's just been playing that one machine for, oh God, I mean, what day is it? I think it's been 3 weeks.
Nobody's ever beat him before.
Nobody's beaten his score. It's honestly, I mean, I shouldn't gossip, but like, anybody that gets close, it's like they get this weird look in their eyes and then just lose. I don't know.
Y'all, how long we been here?
Long enough to beat this asshole.
Like a few weeks. I'm just thinking, man, maybe this guy's up to something tricky, and he could even be, in our situation.
Do you recognize him?
Oh, no, not at all. He just, they kept saying that he just showed up a few weeks ago, and he's kicking ass. So with all this magic stuff going on and people time traveling, perhaps this fella
should
is
get his ass
more than meets the eyes, what I was going to say. But yes, I do concur with you there that he should probably get his ass kicked. But I'm just saying, be on the lookout.
Are you guys talking about kicking that blind kid's ass?
No, metaphorically, ma'am.
This is a sidebar conversation, man.
Well, you're standing right. All right, listen.
It's very rude to listen to people.
Whatever. And she's gonna turn and grab like a little microphone that's on the counter. She's like, "All right, guys. I guess we got some challengers. 3 people. What are your names?" And she's turning to you.
Fucking Trace Kinos, baby.
You're all named Trace Kinos?
Yes.
We are collective Trace Kinos.
So she's like, "Oh God," and she just I guess the collective known as Trace Kinos is going to come try to beat the Pinball Wizard. So I guess everybody cheer for them or boo for them or whatever. I don't care. God, what is my shift over?
Like Xantor slowly claps, and he's like,
The microphone feeds back as you try to clap and cheer into the area around it. So you guys go back, and this time the crowd parts, and you're able to walk up, and you see the spotlight, which was previously illuminating the Pinball Wizard playing his game, is now shining on an empty, ready-to-play pinball machine. You all walk up, and you notice that this pinball machine is in fact themed after the Warlocks, the band that you saw perform at Valley Jam. When you all look up, you get a good look that the launch panel, where the ball shoots up the side of the game, is actually a replica of the road that you've been traveling. From the top down, the machine unfolds a scene like a band playing on stage. The top bumpers are a drum set, cymbals, bass, snare, and hi-hat. The hardware that holds the drum together guides the ball down to where bumpers that represent a banjo sit in the middle of a giant frog face on the floor of the pinball machine. You see a little bit above and to the left of this banjo a pig woman's head with voluptuous locks of hair making a ramp that the ball can ascend and flip around. You see that her mouth opens and closes in time. You see where the bumpers are that shoot the ball back up, a bass guitar split in half is used as the bumper, and in between the two of them, a guitar with a hole in the center is embossed in the center of where the ball would fall were it to be missed by the bumpers. You see that this pig woman's hair has an additional bumper. There is a third bumper on this machine on the left side at the bottom of the ramp, where the pig woman's hair lets the ball flow back. You see all of this in a quick moment. I'm going to go ahead and pass this around, and you guys can take a look at the image and recreate it however you'd like in like a short amount of time if you want. You will have access to this, though, if you'd like to see it as well for this part of the adventure. I'm going to cut this out.
No.
Because I'm going to cut it out, we'll avoid saying anything else until we get back into a thing. But, yeah, I got to stop, too.
So I guess the theory is like we're all standing over top of this thing. As we approach, we can see the table. This is what the table looks like as we approach.
Mm-hmm. And you can still see it now for the foreseeable future.
Is this the one the wizard's been playing? This is the game.
This is the game. So, all right, let me do a little cut. As you take in the table in front of you, the crowd looks on expectantly, and the energy of the room, the vibrant chattering of the onlookers turns to a hush as Trace Kinos, the collective that dares to challenge the Pinball Wizard, approaches. So which one of you guys is going to go first, huh? The crowd begins to jeer.
Ladies first. Ladies first.
Alrighty, dear. But please do go easy on an old woman.
All right. Go easy. I mean, it's a machine. What? Does she even know how to play this game? Like, I don't know, but let's give her a chance. So, Granny Glenda, you approach the machine, and you're going to go ahead and roll for we'll call it Knowledge Arcana, since that's been our used machine skill, to see if you can figure out how to start the game.
Definitely not.
And all of these rolls will be made with disadvantage.
5. Let's see if I roll something worse than that. No, it's a 5.
So with your 5, you walk up and you approach the machine as Granny Glenda approaches all things confidently, but with your grandmotherly step. And you walk up and you grab each side of the machine and you just start flipping the buttons. And the crowd kind of chuckles. Hey, lady, you gotta launch the ball first.
She's calibrating it. Come on.
I'm gonna just try to mess with all the other buttons on there.
So there's no other buttons there. Well, there's a button that is red and says start, and next to that's on the left side of the front of the machine. There's the 2 bumpers on either side of the machine, and there is a button, something that looks like a button that has a spring on it that is like a metal, sort of like a doorknob handle. It looks like a button, but
I'm gonna start twisting it.
So you twist it, and it twists, and it twists, and then it twists. Nothing happens.
And then I pull it.
So you pull it. Okay. As you pull it, you see that it pulls backwards and it builds tension. You see that a ball drops into place in front of it, and as you pull it back, you release. The ball shoots up the road and around the drum sets, bounces around the snares, the cymbals, the toms. It begins to fall down past the banjo. It is rolling. You see it pass by darkened letters it falls past these letters into where the flippers could hit them, and it's going to fall onto the right side. Roll for sleight of hand with disadvantage to see if you are able to hit the ball.
15.
All right, so with your 15, and that's with disadvantage.
Yeah.
So-
I rolled a 4.
Wow. So Granny Glenda, although she does not quite understand how this game works, her reflexes kick in, and she, like a champion, boom, hits the ball. Where are you attempting to send the ball? Are you attempting to send it up or to the left? You're hitting with the right flipper, and you could send it upwards towards the drum set. You could send it in the middle towards the banjo, or you could send it to the left towards
Face.
the face, the ramp, or her opening and closing mouth.
I'm going to send it towards her mouth.
All right, so this is going to be a little bit of a timing challenge. What skill would you like to use to make this second check?
I guess sleight of hand again.
All right, roll your sleight of hand with disadvantage to attempt to aim the ball at the opening and closing mouth. And this is going to be a little bit of a tougher roll.
Natural one.
Oh no! So you manage, and this is how we'll say it, because Granny Glenda's good. She doesn't miss her shot,
No, it would be 12.
but she did miss her timing.
Yeah.
And she hits right as the mouth closes, boom, and it bounces the ball back down with your natural one. There's nothing you can do to stop it. It is going to fall past the guitar hole in the center of the guitar and into the gutter, we'll call it. I'm not sure what you call the bottom of a pinball machine. I should have looked that up. But it's going to fall into the gutter, and you're going to have 2 attempts remaining.
Okay, so give it one more try and shoot it off.
All right. The ball shoots upward, and let's go ahead and roll on a d20. No advantage or disadvantage. This is just to determine which side of the board it's going to fall on off your launch.
It was a 10.
So we'll say that a 1 through 10 is going to be on the left side of the board, and an 11 through 20 is going to be on the right side of the board. So it is going to fall down past the banjo, past the face, onto the left side of the board. It misses the bass strings of doom that would take the ball into the gutter, and instead falls onto the left paddle. You may hit it and send it where you like. Go ahead and roll for your attempt to hit.
With disadvantage.
With disadvantage. Granny Glenda didn't actually figure out how to play the game.
Natural one again.
So Granny Glenda, fixated on the game, is watching, waiting for her chance. She's watching, waiting for her chance. She's watching. She's going to hit it at the perfect time to launch it into something, anything, and the ball rolls into the gutter without her reacting at all.
Alrighty.
The crowd
dearies.
begins to snicker. What, you guys just wasted a buck. Who's this lady anyways? What a silly old fox. Old ladies. Maybe she wasn't so old.
Hey, how about you shut the hell up?
Yeah.
Or I come over there and smack you in the mouth.
Roll for intimidation, Elijah.
How dare you talk like that to an elder?
17.
So they, with Granny Glenda and Elijah turning around, staring daggers, Elijah threatening them, they shut their mouth and hide into the crowd. You can't even see who said it.
That's what I thought, you little nerd.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna give it one last try.
All right.
That's a 9 on direction.
All right, so that's going to fall to the left side of the table. It is going to miss the drums entirely, falling short to the right side to bounce at the last minute off the top of the banjo head onto the left side of the table, rolling past the hair ramp onto the left trigger What do you roll to hit?
Okay, thank God. 15.
All right, so with your 15, you are able to launch the ball in whatever direction you choose. Where are you sending it?
I'm gonna send it towards the road.
All right, so you send the ball towards the starting area, the ramp that leads the ball up. You see it catch the ramp for the road and ride around the top right of the table, coming back down again to fall through the drum set. Let's go ahead and roll a sleight of hand to see if you hit a target on the drum set.
A disadvantage?
Everything's with disadvantage for Granny Glenda.
Nah.
That's no fun.
That's gonna be 18.
So this is why we give you disadvantage. You have no sympathy from me. You're a rogue. You have expertise. So the ball falls, and as you're watching it bounce, it actually goes between the two toms, in between the cymbals, to fall into a barely visible hole in the bass drum's head, and you see the letter R light up in red and blue lights, not only on the drum set itself, but also in the center of the play field underneath the banjo. You see the letters that the ball had been passing by before become slightly more visible, and the first in the series of letters lights R. Your ball is now trapped, and a new ball appears in the launch area.
Launch it.
All right, go ahead and roll.
17.
So the ball is going to fall onto the right side. You attempt a second skill shot, just like your previous one, making the ball go up the road and then fall short before hitting the drum set. This time it misses the banjo bumper and does not bounce to the left, but instead falls down the road, replica onto the right flipper. What are you going to shoot at?
I'm gonna go for the banjo.
All righty.
Oh, God. It's a natural one.
3.
So Granny Glenda is
This is not
locked
my game.
in. She is so good at this game. She just, you're like starting to figure out what's going on. The R lit up. You're like, there's something happening here. And as you're realizing all of this, you fail to realize that the ball has just rolled right past the flipper down into the gutter. And Granny Glenda, an alarm goes, and game over flashes across the front of the screen in incandescent light bulbs of multicolors. Just game over. Your score was 20,000 points. The score to beat, you see that the high score to beat is 100,000 points.
Not too bad, Granny, for your first try.
You know, I just don't think I'm meant for these times. With this technology, I seem to be pretty bad at it.
Oh, like all things, a little practice, no worries. You can run it again if you want to in a little bit.
That's true.
Who's going to go next? The crowd is getting restless. They did enjoy laughing at Granny Glenda's performance, but they'd like to see something a little bit. They thought, surely anyone who's going to challenge the Pinball Wizard would put a better show than that.
Xantor steps up. He's like, get out of the way. I got this.
Give it hell, Xantor.
So Xantor, you have now seen Granny Glenda play. You've seen other people play. You are familiar with this game. You know as you approach that you need to press the start button and then pull the trigger to launch the ball. You could go ahead and roll to launch.
All right. Was it Arcana checks to roll and then sleight of hands to aim, or what was the roll check?
So the Arcana check that Granny Glenda did was to have familiarity with the machine, and she failed it. You have already earned the check there. You don't have to make the Arcana check because you succeeded your previous checks. You have advantage on everything. And the roll to launch the ball is just a D20 roll. If you roll a 1 to 10, you're going to land on the left side of the table. If you roll a 11 to 20, you're going to land on the right side of the table.
All right, he got a 16.
So with your 16, the ball is going to... Does Xantor pull it hard, or does he try for a skill shot?
He pulls it very hard, yes.
So Xantor yanks back, and the ball launches. It is racking on the rails, and as it comes around the top, it is bouncing furiously. You see the score counter just increasing as you hit the snare, the toms, the cymbals. It's bouncing, and then it manages to bounce around and stop for a moment on the hi-hat before falling slowly to the right to roll down, missing the banjo and hitting the right flipper. Go ahead and roll to see if you're able to hit the ball.
He's a
sleight of hand, and you have the opposite of Granny Glenda. You have advantage on all of these.
So you got 24. He's aiming for the piggy.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll to see. Roll again to see if you hit the piggy. You do manage to hit the ball.
Come on, Xantor, get it in that pig mouth.
Well, got 21.
So it is like watching a military sniper take out their target. It is like watching an expert carpenter hammer in a nail. It is like watching Xantor play pinball. Ping! The ball shoots straight into the pig's mouth as it opens. The ball gets stuck right in her mouth, and on her nose, the letter O lights up. The letter next to the R that was lit for Granny Glenda is now lit. A new ball appears in the launch.
Yeah. And Xandor's like, steady, like, really grabbing onto the machine. He's got his two front forearms, like, holding onto the machine, and his back arms doing the pulling. He's starting to get into it a little bit. So he's going to do the D20 launch.
Go for that area that Granny lit up, that other letter.
I'm going to go for the opposite. I got a 2, so it goes left.
So you're going to land on the... Yeah, this is your launch thing. You're going to land. It's going to shoot. And are you pulling hard or are you pulling soft?
This time's a little softer than the first time.
So, but not like skill shot soft, just maybe like a normal person?
Yeah, he's doing like a medium. The first one was a hard. This is a medium.
Yeah, so it's gonna land and bounce around the drum set. It's hitting the rack toms. It's hitting the ride. It's bouncing around, and then it's gonna fall to the left side. And you see that it actually is going to fall under the pig woman's hair and get caught for a moment on the bottom side of the ramp before the ramp pushes it out just a touch, and it begins to roll down to the left flipper. Roll to see if you're able to hit.
So he's like slamming on the buttons real fast.
Which arms does he use, I wonder? I know I'm interrupting, but
like I say, he had his front arms. His top arms are like holding on to the machine itself, and then the bottom arms are the ones like flipping frantically.
Good.
He got a 16.
Alrighty. I should add, you could get caught cheating with this, but bumping the table is always an option in pinball.
Yeah, he doesn't know about that rule and could possibly do that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you got a 16, is that what you said?
Yeah.
With your 16, what are you aiming for? Are you hit? What are you aiming for?
Well, I'm trying to run it like up the banjo and kind of pop it back to the top.
All right, so you manage to... Let's go ahead and roll to see how successful you are at hitting the banjo and making it roll around to the top.
20.
With your 20, it's similar to the path that the ball took when Granny Glenda caused it to go up the road. Your ball rides up the side of the banjo and uses that to hit the ramp back onto the starting road, it circles back around and falls into the drum set, bounces around the toms, bounces around the cymbals before falling in between the rack toms to land inside the bass drum. Another ball is caught. The letter R lights up in red and blue letters. The letter O is red and yellow letters. I didn't say that. But you have another ball to launch in the starting ramp.
Natural 20.
I love that you got a natural 20, but this is a launch, so it's just going to fall to the right side. There's nothing necessarily natural about it.
It's real pretty, though, the flow of the ball and just everything about it.
It actually, like, you can see Xantor's reflection in the ball rolling for a moment while it goes up the road. Does Xantor have anything to add?
Yeah, I was thinking he was going to use, like, his draconic thaumaturgy to make his, like, dragon eyes, like, slightly flash for a second. I don't know if
and you can see them, so they can't see your face, but they can see it reflected in the ball as it rolls. They see your draconic eyes mirrored in its shiny surface, and then it whips around and falls to the right side. We'll say this was, in fact, one of those skill shots. Just a whiff of a pull sends the ball, and it falls onto the right side, calmly into the thing. And we'll say because it was a natural 20, you actually caught the ball. Rather than sending it shooting, you caught the ball and are holding it and can send it, you have a lot more control over it at this point.
Well, that's good, because he got a 10 on his hit.
With advantage?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are unable to control where it goes, but you send the ball flying off into the game, and it is going to roll back down, bouncing off of the banjo, bouncing up and attempting to hit the ramp of the pig woman's hair, but lacking the momentum. It slides back down and bumps the banjo again before falling to the left side and landing in your left bumper.
All right, he's frantically slamming on that left bumper with a 24.
All right, and what are you aiming at?
He kind of sees what's going on to lighten up the letters and stuff, so he's looking at the banjo now to see if there's like a position near the banjo frog, if there's like a hole that the ball can fall into.
Yeah, there totally is. It's
He'd be aiming for that.
Cool.
With a 24.
So with a 24, you slam. You're slamming it before the ball even gets there, and it is perfect timing for when the ball arrives to boom, just like your first shot. It is a hammer on a nail straight into the banjo, and the letter A lights up. As you are... another ball falls into the shooter. As you are pulling it back, a strange sensation starts to come over your consciousness. A flutter at first. Each of you. You feel as though you warble in place, and yet you don't move. You look down and you feel as though your hands are shaking, and yet they're steady. For a moment, everything seems to shimmer, and then, in an instant, your consciousness is transported. The three of you are together in a place brightly lit. There are lights on the floor. There are lights in front of you. You look up, and the ceiling seems to be made of glass. There is an incline to the floor. Roll for perception.
What the hell? 11.
3.
11.
So with your 11, this was kind of just a. So with your 11, you are unable to ascertain anything in specific, but you hear a noise, and you look to your right and to your left, and you see that walls behind you on the incline are starting to move with speed. You see a trigger action coming from the wall.
Perhaps we should move away from those things, and also, where are we?
Where the hell are we right now? Is this a dream? Has this whole thing been a dream? Are we going back home? Are we gonna like wake up?
Maybe this is what happens when you win, like we were doing.
Did you dose our drinks with Drake Spittle again?
I can't help but feel there's some fuckery afoot.
Roll for perception. One more time.
Natural 1.
We are not doing hot on the rolling tonight. 12.
9.
All right, I'm going to need you each to roll a dexterity saving throw as a ginormous silver ball, 4 to 5 times the size of your body, rolls down the incline at the group, and you are unable to get away in time.
What is that? 7 plus 4, 11.
17.
13.
All right, so if you got below a 12, which I think was just Elijah,
I'm tripping on my hooves.
you're going to take 8 damage.
Oh, God.
Is that bludgeoning? Like
Bludgeoning,
falling?
yeah. And if you did pass, you're going to take 4 damage as this ginormous ball rolls at you and knocks you forcefully away. You are all moved away from each other, roughly 5 to 10 feet away from one another, and you are now scattered about this inclined landscape as you watch the flipper. As you watch the wall that was moving towards you reacts to the ball's presence, and you see a wall move and smack the silver ball, and it's going to roll back towards Granny Glenda. Granny Glenda, I'm going to need you to roll skill check of your choice to try to get out of the way or interact with this ball.
I'm going to use sleight of hand.
All right. Make sure you describe how you're sleight of handing the situation.
Okay, first of all, that's a 27. So, what I'm going to do is kind of like do a spin around and grab the ball and use the momentum to send the ball back in between the middle of the flippers where they can't be hit by the flippers.
Interesting choice, right in the middle of the flippers.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and roll again to see if that happens. You successfully avoid the ball rolling at you, and you manage to spin yourself and thrust the ball in a direction, your goal being for it to go between the flippers.
So 4. I don't know. Wait,
Yeah,
do I get
so-
a bonus?
No, well, you get your sleight of hand.
Okay, then that's a 15.
This is... am I supposed to hate rogues?
So damn Dixie.
All right, so that you picked in between the flippers is an interesting choice. You thrust the ball downward towards the flippers, and you see that just before it would go into the gutter where you expect it to go, it lands smack in the center of the guitar. Yes, that's right. The guitar from the pinball game that you were playing previously. It falls into the hole and, like the other balls, locks into place. With 4 balls now locked on all 4 letters, you realize the lights on the floor were the lights from the pinball game, spelling out the letters to the word road. The road. The illuminates in white lights as the red and blue, red and yellow, red and green, and red and white letters of road flash into your vision. As a group, you look up and see the ceiling, the window, the somewhat opaque, somewhat clear, scratched up surface covering the area above you is none other than the glass of the pinball machine. And when you look beyond that glass, you see your very own Xantor staring down at you, hands on the machine, playing pinball. His movements, slow as molasses. You turn around, and as the machine lights flash, as you see the scoreboard count, you look up. As a group, you see Xantor's score, 120,000 points and counting.
You beat him.
Y'all see my eyes flash.
We're trapped in this damn game.
As this realization hits you, you see new words flash on the screen in front of you, or on the screen in front of the game. The lights make the word multi-ball.
Oh, no.
Wherever you are standing, the balls sink into the machine and reappear, encapsulating each of you in a transparent metallic ball, roughly 3 to 4 times your size. In the center, where the frog head sat embossed on the floor, the frog head begins to rise and morph. The pig woman's face melts into his body. From behind the drum set, a dog person drummer melts into this amalgamum. You see the guitar player and the bass player morph into this machine, and then this being, and then suddenly it goes from being an ooze-like amalgamum of all of the entities' artwork that you had seen displayed. It takes physical form, suddenly becoming bucks. And more bucks, countless bucks, coins, piled on top of coins, as though the machine itself is feeding this magic that is coming to life in front of you. All of this you take in as the sensation of gravity hits hold. You begin to fall. You are rotating downward, but your consciousness becomes one with the machine. You see that you now can control Xantor as he flips the buttons. But in front of you, this amalgamum, this being, this golem of coins, this crowned golem stands and looks down upon the group as your balls begin to roll down the incline. It laughs, and you hear the noise is hollow, coming from its metallic mouth. You thought you could beat the Pinball Wizard, but what about the Party Table King? We're going to roll for initiative and pick up there next time on the next thrilling episode of Wooks and Warlocks.
Round and around in the tunnel, when it's dark we go, searching through the rubble for what once was spark like a shout in the night. And the sight of the past, it can fill us with fear all night, though we know the wheel comes back after time. Oh, sweet time. And the soul will rise from the ashes. We will climb as we shout into the night. Let no man use my battle cry.
Wooks and Warlocks features Anthony Ryan as Xantor, the Bugfolk Ranger, Jesse Bennett as Granny Glenda, half Foxfolk Rogue, John Lombardi as Elijah Woodstone, the Elk Folk Wizard, and Trey Miller as Dungeon Master. Intro and outro feature the song Flight of the Phoenix by Tire Fire. Recording and editing are completed in-house by the Wooks and Warlocks team. Recording consultation provided by Adam Horwitz. You can find us online at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Discord under the name Wooks and Warlocks. Links can be found in the description. If you would like to sponsor an episode of Wooks and Warlocks, please contact us at wooksandwarlocks@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
Dark clouds brewing a storm deep in the sky. Words spoken in anger, vibrant like a neon sign in the mind's eye, multiplied by time and time again. It's those we love that we lose when we struggle with what's inside, just hoping for hope, something to ward off the fright and the soul will rise from the ashes.